In 1991, a murder case shocked South Korea. A completely paralyzed man was killed in his own home. His abdomen was stabbed multiple times, his genitals cruelly severed. But unbelievably, the murderer wasn't a big, strong man, but a 29-year-old, frail woman. Police investigation revealed this case was rooted in a 20-year-long grudge. The murderer was assaulted as a child by the victim, her neighbor. To end the nightmare and get justice for herself, she planned this bloody revenge. On January 30th, 1991, police in Namwon, Jeollabuk-do, received an emergency call. The caller sounded panicked, stammering, "Someone's been killed. Send someone quickly." Hearing it was a death, police rushed to the scene, a remote village in Namwon. Arriving at the scene, the informant told police he was the victim's neighbor. The victim, Song Baek-kwon, 55. The murderer was a woman, named Kim Bu-nam, only 29. Soon, police saw the victim, Song Baek-kwon. He died a gruesome death. He lay in a pool of blood, his stomach stabbed several times, wounds still bleeding profusely. But worse was his lower body. His genitals had been savagely cut off and discarded to the side, a bloody, terrifying sight. Meanwhile, directed by neighbors, police found the murderer, Kim Bu-nam. But when they saw what she looked like, even they showed disbelief. Because Kim Bu-nam didn't look like a murderer. She was very thin, covered in blood, sitting blankly on the ground, staring vacantly at the sky. Her expression seemed both like crying and laughing. Seeing this, police questioned Kim Bu-nam, asking if she killed Song Baek-kwon. Hearing the question, Kim snapped out of her daze. She stared at the officer and firmly admitted to the crime, saying she had no regrets. But when asked why she killed him, her gaze firm, tone calm, she replied, "She didn't kill a person, she killed a beast." Hearing this, police knew something was wrong. So, they took Kim Bu-nam for interrogation and began investigating her past. Through her account, they learned her history and uncovered a 20-year-old case. The origin of everything traces back to 1970. Kim Bu-nam was only 9 then. Living in the countryside, she helped with household chores early. That day, as usual, she happily went to fetch water from Song Baek-kwon's house. After getting water, Song acted unusually friendly, giving her a piece of candy. After she ate the candy, Song Baek-kwon asked for her help with something, telling her to come inside. Thinking he was kind, she followed him into the inner room. Once inside, while the girl was unaware, Song Baek-kwon secretly locked the door. Then he dropped his act. Tearing off his mask of kindness, he pushed the girl onto the bed and forcibly assaulted her. Afterwards, as Kim Bu-nam trembled, dressing, trying to hurry home, Song Baek-kwon threatened her viciously. If she told her family about the assault, he would kill her entire family. Hearing this, Kim Bu-nam trembled uncontrollably, could only nod repeatedly. Then, dragging the bucket, she limped out of his house and headed home. Arriving home, Kim Bu-nam was completely stunned, her mind replaying what happened. Even when her parents noticed she seemed off, she still said nothing, burying the secret deep inside. The next day, Kim Bu-nam went to school as usual. At school, her teacher noticed something was wrong. She asked her gently if something bad had happened. At the question, Kim still didn't dare to tell the truth, and pretended that everything was fine. As time passed, the wounds on her lower body slowly healed. She was no longer as afraid and went to and from school on time each day. Just when the memory was fading, a simple request from her parents plunged her back into the nightmare. That day, her unaware parents, as usual, told her to take the bucket and fetch water from Song Baek-kwon's house. The sight of the bucket instantly brought back the horrific memory of the assault. She absolutely refused to go, even begging her parents on her knees. Seeing her unusual behavior, Her parents thought she was just being lazy. To punish her, her father took a leather whip and struck her fiercely. But no matter how hard he beat her, she stubbornly refused to go, still unwilling to explain why. The real torment came later. After this incident, Kim Boo-nam could no longer live normally. She struggled to make friends, had nightmares and bedwetting every night, and her academic performance plummeted. These changes convinced her parents their assumption was correct. Their daughter was no longer the obedient girl they knew. So after she finished elementary school, they sent their 12-year-old daughter away to work as a maid for a wealthy family in Seoul. And so, at just 12 years old, Kim Boo-nam went to Seoul alone. In Seoul, she worked as a maid for a wealthy household. Here, she felt a sense of peace she hadn't known before. The nightmares stopped, the terrible memories faded, and her mind finally calmed. She learned to be frugal, saving her monthly salary to pay for her brother's university education. With time, as she grew older, Kim, like any young woman, began to fantasize about love and started watching romantic dramas. But through these shows, she gradually realized what Song Baek-kwon had done to her at age 9 was assault. Something that should only happen between consenting lovers. This realization shocked her to the core, instantly shattering her illusions about love. At age 20, she quit her job as a maid and returned to her hometown. But she didn't know then that her time in Seoul had been the most peaceful of her life. Back home, she found no escape from the pain Song had caused. Instead, she faced even more suffering. Upon returning home, Kim Boo-nam faced constant pressure to marry. Her parents quickly arranged many blind dates. Having long lost any hope for love, she calmly accepted their arrangements and married a man she didn't dislike. If all went well, she would live out her life like any village woman, staying with her husband. But then the unexpected happened. On their wedding night, her husband tried to make love to her. Perhaps due to her past trauma, Kim Boo-nam felt a deep aversion to intimacy. As he approached, she grew extremely uncomfortable and even pushed him away. For the entire first month of marriage, she couldn't overcome this mental barrier. Rejected by his own wife, her husband couldn't tolerate it. He yelled at her. Kim was in agony too. She didn't want to be this way, but she simply couldn't control herself. Hoping to make the marriage work, she mentally prepared herself and, taking a gamble, found the courage to tell him about the assault at age 9. But as she revealed this secret buried for 11 years, her husband's reaction left her feeling utterly frozen. Upon hearing it, he offered no comfort, no concern or care for his wife. He just said impatiently that it happened 11 years ago. Why was she still hung up on it? He saw it as an excuse, believing she just didn't want to be intimate. Enraged, he immediately called her parents and revealed the secret she'd hidden for 11 years. Learning from their son-in-law about the assault, her parents said nothing, silently hanging up. They were worried their daughter would be abandoned by her husband. Trying to save the marriage, they called their daughter home on a pretext and pressed her for details. But Kim still refused to speak. Seeing her reluctance, they decided to send her to a mental hospital. There, doctors diagnosed her with schizophrenia, requiring counseling. Afterwards, with the doctor's gentle help, treatment progressed smoothly. Her heart felt an unprecedented peace, and she experienced care and warmth again. Soon, with dedicated treatment, her condition gradually improved. In under 2 months, she was discharged. After leaving the hospital, reinvigorated about life, she reflected on herself, vowing to make her marriage work. She even mustered the courage to initiate intimacy with her husband. But her recovery seemed illusory. She still recoiled from her husband, let alone consummate the marriage. After several more failed attempts, her already resentful husband reached his limit and filed for divorce. After the divorce, though people criticized her, mocking her for being cast out, she never saw it that way. She simply felt she wasn't ready. Holding this belief, she began dating frequently, approaching matches with marriage in mind. A few months later, she finally met a man she connected with and who liked her back. So, hopeful, Kim Boo-nam entered a second marriage. She studied how to overcome her fear of intimacy, asking married women for advice, buying lingerie herself, wearing bright lipstick before being with her husband, pepping herself up in the mirror. But fate wasn't done with this poor woman. In the midst of intimacy with her second husband, as he removed her clothes, the resolve she had built up began to crumble. The memory of the assault flooded back. Her body trembled uncontrollably, a cold sweat breaking out. She still hadn't escaped that nightmare. As he moved to remove her underwear, Kim, pushed to her limit, broke down sobbing and kicked him off the bed. What pained her more was that after that incident, any approach from her husband triggered instinctive revulsion she couldn't bear. Initially, her husband said nothing about her trauma. But after repeated interruptions to their intimacy, he finally lost control. They had a huge fight. He demanded to know why she refused him. This argument made Kim Boo-nam realize the childhood assault was the root of all her problems. Unless she resolved it, she could never live a normal life. So, she gathered her courage again and told her husband about the assault. This time, he didn't blame her. He said it wasn't her fault and she should seek legal resolution. His words were a revelation to her, who only had an elementary school education. She visited every local library, studying law books day and night. To learn court procedures, she even found ways to attend trials, taking extensive notes. Just when she thought she could finally end the nightmare, reality dealt her a harsh blow. She read in a law book that over a decade had passed. The statute of limitations had expired. She couldn't even file a case. This was a devastating blow, shattering all her hopes. But she wasn't defeated. Desperately, she went to the police station to report the crime, only to learn something that crushed her spirit completely. Under South Korean law at the time, the statute of limitations for rape was only 6 months. Once that period passed, filing a case was impossible. After all her efforts, this was the outcome. Kim Boo-nam was shattered and furious. She wept bitterly, hating her younger self's helplessness, regretting not reporting the crime right after it happened. But after her outburst, Kim Boo-nam dried her tears. The resilient woman thought, if the law couldn't give her justice, she would confront Song Baek-kwon herself and force him to apologize. With this resolve, she went to her parents' house. After arriving, she went straight to Song's home. Furious, she kicked his door open and stormed inside. She saw the 55-year-old Song paralyzed in bed, unable to move, glaring at her angrily. Seeing this, Kim Boo-nam laughed. She told him directly. She wanted him to admit his crime publicly and apologize to her sincerely. After saying this, she returned home. But soon after, she discovered her brother had secretly accepted 400,000 won from Song Baek-kwon. And Song never apologized. Her brother and parents all urged her to let it go. Seeing her family's betrayal, and recalling years of suffering, Kim Boo-nam's faith shattered. She knew she wasn't at fault. It was all Song Baek-kwon's doing. If Song were gone, she could be reborn. The moment this thought emerged, she made a crazy decision. To personally kill the beast who had tormented her for years. Soon, she acted on this decision and got her revenge. To kill Song Baek-kwon, Kim Boo-nam began preparing. She bought a sharp new kitchen knife, then a dagger from a fruit shop. She found an old bag, cut and sewed it into a sheath, and placed the blades inside, tying it to her waist. Knowing Song had done farm work for years, and though paralyzed, his arm strength was still formidable. She knew she needed training to overpower him. So she started training her stamina. Driven by her resolve, she practiced quick drawing the knife daily in front of a mirror. After over 2 months, she could smoothly draw the blade even with her eyes closed. With preparations complete, all she needed was the right moment. Soon it came. It was January 30th, 1991. The day was cold, but Kim Boo-nam didn't feel it. Her heart burned with the excitement of finally taking her revenge. After dark, she tied the sheath with the knives to her waist, hummed a cheerful tune to Song's house. Then, to force him out, she shouted she needed to talk. But Song just yelled back, calling her a madwoman. Tired of arguing, Kim Boo-nam kicked his door open and burst into his room. Then, staring at the man who had tortured her for years, she didn't hesitate. She expertly drew the kitchen knife and slashed at Song Baek-kwon. The first strike, she cut off the disgusting part between his legs, avenging her 9-year-old self. The second strike, she stabbed resolutely into his stomach, intending to kill the scum. But driven by survival instinct, Song mustered incredible strength. He fought back with all his might, grabbed the kitchen knife from her, and cursed her wildly. These curses drove Kim Boo-nam completely mad. She gave a cold laugh, swiftly drew the dagger with her other hand, and stabbed firmly into Song's body. Stabbed, Song cried out in agony. But Kim Boo-nam wouldn't stop. She gripped the dagger and kept stabbing his abdomen, determined to kill the beast. Unfortunately, Song's screams drew neighbors who saw the scene inside. Thus, to stop her, several men rushed in, pulled Kim Boo-nam away from Song, and seized her knife. Only then, disarmed, did she regain a sliver of reason. But seeing Song Baek-kwon dead, Kim Boo-nam felt immense joy and a deep sense of relief. She had finally gotten her revenge. After Kim Boo-nam's case was reported, countless South Koreans expressed pity and sympathy for her. Many even said that Kim Boo-nam was seeking justice in her own way. Though her methods were extreme, no one could truly understand her pain. She was forced into this position. The law should protect victims, not let perpetrators escape unscathed. Beyond the public, sympathy for Kim Boo-nam's plight led women's groups in Jeollabuk-do to form the Kim Boo-nam Incident Response Committee on April 10, 1991. The committee then visited Kim Boo-nam, interviewed her family, attended hearings, met with judges, and held press conferences, urging public support and leniency in her sentencing. Ultimately, with the committee's support, during the August 1991 trial, the judge considered she had been assaulted by Song Baek-kwon and subsequently developed mental illness. She was sentenced to 2 years and 6 months for murder, suspended for 3 years, with 1 year of mandatory custodial treatment. Kim Boo-nam appealed the verdict immediately, but her appeals were rejected. She then received about 1 year and 7 months of treatment at a custodial center in Gongju, and was released in May 1993. This case reveals a harsh reality. Harm does not spare a child for being young. It instead makes them an easier target for predators. Many children, at the time, don't even understand what is happening to them. By the time they grow up and comprehend it, the damage is often irreversible. That's all for today's case. What are your thoughts on this case? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments below. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this case, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow Case Diaries. There are plenty more cases coming your way. Got thoughts on today's story? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. See you in the next one.